on the other guy. So that's nothing to worry about. But what happens is our mind starts going, and we do not pay attention. And as our mind is going, we're just going with it. We're, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, that did that, and then we get nervous, we get pissed off, we get all these things happen because we're in our mind not speaking truth to ourselves. We're not. It's not a truth. It's just something we're saying. It's as if someone comes to you and says, hey, did you know the sky's purple? And you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, the sky is purple, isn't it? But it's not purple, it's blue, right? Mm-hmm. But we're telling ourselves something like that, and it creates suffering, anxiety, resentment, all these things that bring us into a place of not so good. Our balance is completely gone. Our peace is gone. And then we're like, where did it go? How do I get it back? What's going to happen? Right? But it's easy. Even though most people would say, no, it's not. It's hard. This is Daniel. Me and Roger are ready when class is. Really? Because we're online. So let me just say we're on YouTube. Okay. So this is how it works. If we continue to not pay attention, that's the work that we're supposed to be doing. That's the practice that we're supposed to be doing. Like we practice at meditation sometimes, not all the time, but we practice at that. We practice at listening to Dhamma talks or listening to me or reading a book. We do all that. That's all outside of us. None of that is inside you. So then what do you do? It's Daniel logging in now. A few minutes, finishing dinner. Okay, whatever. This is Bubba. So this is what we do to ourselves. And then we want to blame it on something else or someone else. So this is how it works, right? We're not taking any responsibility inside ourselves, and everything that's going wrong that we think, quote unquote, is going wrong. Okay, how do we do the YouTube?
Do you want me to explain?
Yes. Roger knows how. Okay, so here we are again, trying to figure out how to get ourselves back into balance and peace.
Do you still want me to let them know how to use YouTube? Or just
I send them Roger. I send it. Roger knows, but maybe he forgot. I said he does it on his tablet. Daniel. Hello? Oh. Let me try to help him real quick. We're helping another person. Sorry, everybody that's online right now.
Thank you.
Hey, so Roger should know how. It's on his tablet. Go to YouTube and you go.
He's trying to, but doesn't know what he's doing wrong.
Matt just sent you a link, and all you got to do is go to you. He knows how to get on YouTube for sure, and then you go to my my YouTube channel and you click live.
All right,
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't see live.
There's a little button that says live, like it'll say videos and then live.
Playlist, and it should have live.
I don't see live or video, but see stuff yet.
If
Did
it's
you?
videos, it should say.
All right, click on it.
Okay.
I found it.
Okay, good.
Wait a minute.
All right. Bye. Okay. So all right, here we are. Let's go back to where we were, right? So this is the way life is. You see, it comes and goes, right? Like things happen. We don't, I'm telling them how to do it, but because, first of all, we don't prepare ourselves, right? We get sidetracked and then we, hurry, 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 right? We create our own stuff. That's our own stuff that we're creating inside ourselves. So if we look at our thoughts, number one, this is like that is what sati is, okay? Mindfulness. Mindfulness, sati, whatever you want to call it, is paying attention to your thoughts as they enter your mind. Yes, it takes practice. That's why we have to practice a lot, because it takes practice. We're not used to paying attention to our thoughts. We're used to them just going, and we're used to our life in chaos. That's what we're used to, right? Like I was there. I was used to that. I sought out chaos. Like that was my normal. And if I didn't have chaos, I'd go find it. You know, I go to a bar, I get drunk, or go hang out with friends that I knew had chaos in their life, right? I bring it in because that's where my comfort zone was. But once you can get past that and get into the peace, once you find it, once you feel it, just one time, then you're looking for it. And as you look for it, what you do is you start paying attention to your thoughts. When you have a thought, I'm bored. I'm bored. That just means you haven't sat down, took a breath, and calmed yourself. You're trying to go find something to do so you don't have to do that. People don't like to be with themselves because they're uncomfortable with their own thoughts. Make sense? Okay. So once we get comfortable with the uncomfortable, and I say it a lot, get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And once we get comfortable with the uncomfortable, Thailand, once we get comfortable with the uncomfortable, then we can start looking at our thoughts and speaking truth to ourselves, because most of the time when we're looking at our thoughts, we're not speaking truth. We're looking at our thoughts as if they are truth. You understand? Yep. Like we're looking at, oh yeah, that's true. No, it's not. It's not the truth. The truth isn't something that you're thinking may happen, could happen, or happened in the past. None of that is your truth. Even if it happened in the past, I'm not saying it didn't happen in the past. What I'm saying is it's not happening now, and it no longer will, because it can't happen the same way twice, not the same time frame. Right. So as you think about this, then you can start looking at your thoughts. Oh, that's not true. That happened in the past. That's not true. Set it aside. You know, the more you do that, that's your practice. And the more you do that practice, the less you have to do, like pay attention, because you're already paying attention. Like you're in that zone of just continually. I do it all the time, like every minute of my day. That's where I'm at. I'm looking at my thought. Is that a truth? No. Throw it away. This is true. You know, and I bring in truth all the time. I'm bringing it in. You know, I don't have to sit and contemplate anymore. You do when you first start. because you're confused as to what the truth is. Okay, so you're confused that, okay, is that true? Am I really, or am I making this up? We ask ourselves that, right? But the truth is solid. Okay, the truth is in the now. Everything else is fiction. If it's not here in this present moment, you don't know for sure. Like, that's when you know it's truth or not. If you don't know for absolute certainty, why are you thinking about it? Causing yourself grief. If you start thinking in the now, okay, what I do know now is I am here. When I was on my way here, I knew I was driving here. You know, before that, I knew I had to go to the grocery store. Before that, I knew I had to go see this lady who had fallen and hit her head. 70 some years old, right? So before that, I was seeing Roger. Hi, Roger. You know, this is, I'm in the present moment as it's taking place. I know what I have to do. It's not that I don't plan ahead a little bit. It's that I plan ahead and leave it. I don't look at it again. You know, because when I look at it again, then I question my decision that I made when I was in the now.
Right.
You know, and then I go back and forth, and then it creates what? Suffering inside of me.
Yeah.
And I'm,
Chaos and suffering.
yeah, anxiety.
Guessing yourself.
Yes.
Second guessing yourself.
Yes. But once we've made a decision, we made that decision with knowledge. And we made it, and if we just let it be. But usually what happens, instead of going with the decision we made, we question ourselves, and then we get afraid. And then we go, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Should I do that? I don't know, you know? And then we go through this whole thing, and then we're in suffering. And we're not in the now because we're in our head talking about what could happen or what might happen or a number of other things that aren't here. And this is like one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. Like, and it runs side by side with truth. Being in the now and speaking truth to yourself, they coincide. They're together in that. They're not separate. You can't separate them. They're actually together. So when you're present in this time and you're speaking truth to yourself, you're 100% right there and you're in balance. But the minute you start questioning your truth, you start going out of balance, and things start going kind of wonky in your life, like a little crazy, you know, and you don't know why. But it stems from the decision. I think those are tree limbs hitting the window. But anyway, it goes a little, we create this without knowing we're creating it. And so if we're paying attention, we know exactly what we're creating as we're creating it. And that's how people bring whatever they need into their life, because they're present, speaking truth to themselves, and they're in the loving kindness center of their self. And as you do that, those 5 little things that Master Bhumni spoke to me. First things he said, right? I say it every week, but I probably will continue to say it every week because that's how important it is. Speaking truth, Satchitam, speaking truth to yourself. And I've said this before too. Once you do the first one, the second one is like automatic. It happens automatically. Like there's 5 things and we think, oh my God, how am I going to do that? How do I do that? But when you do the first one, the second one begins. It's automatic. Like you don't have to sit and go, okay, how do I give myself loving kindness? You know, it's through giving yourself truth. That's how you give yourself loving kindness, when you speak truth inside yourself. But when we don't, we're creating the chaos 100% of the time. And I see it every single day. Even with people I'm not around, I can feel it. You know, it's funny. There's a connection when you start teaching people, there's a connection to the people you teach. And you know when they're in their chaos before you ever get to see them. It's a funny thing, but it's true. And then you're like, okay, I know they're in their chaos. I'm waiting for them to call me, you know, but sometimes they don't call. And then they go 2 or 3 days and the chaos gets worse. Hey, if you're in chaos and you need like just a little quick, you know, or even if it's a long, you know, help out, call, because then you don't have to spend 4 or 5 days in the chaos. You only spend a little bit of time and you're out. And then you go on with your center. You go on with your balance. But it's practice. You got to practice at it.
Yeah.
And you have to let go of the ego. You cannot have ego in this. It's very humbling. Different things in your life. Like Roger right now is being humbled by his accident. It's very humbling because, you know, you have to let people do everything for you. You have no control over anything. Hey, sometimes you have to have that in order to be able to center yourself. You know, sometimes we can watch someone else and draw from their experience and not have to go through it ourselves. It depends on where you're at with yourself, you know. So, but if you can, you know, I don't know, I try every week to express it in a way that people can understand, because sometimes it's difficult to tell people how to balance their self, right? Because it's a process that only you can do for yourself. Like no one, and everybody is looking outside of themselves. Everybody, you know, I did it. I know what it is. Like when somebody sends me something or asks me about something, I know immediately they're looking outside of themselves. How do I know? Because I did it. Like many, many years, I was searching outside of myself. I have so many certificates. You know, I could start a big bonfire with it for sure, because that's how many, you know, I was searching. Oh yeah, I took neurolinguistics. I took, you know, psychic classes at a college. I took, you know, I did everything searching for this thing outside of me. And the entire time it was inside, you know, but I didn't know it was inside. So as we go on this journey, and make no mistake, that's a journey. Like we're like got our backpacks on, we're going climbing Mount Everest right here. You know, really, that's sometimes what it feels like. I know that. I get it. I totally understand it. But once you get to the top, you know, the beauty that you see, and I'm speaking metaphorically, but truly, you can't put words into it. You know, you cannot put it into words. The beauty that you see in everything. Like that is real life. We're taught not to see that. We're taught only to see with our eyes. But when you start seeing with your heart, it changes things. Like I'm going to a rehab center and there's a lot of old people in that rehab center. And I'm talking to them, right? I'm speaking to different ones. And I'm saying, how you doing? Good to see you. You know, I go to one man's room. Hey, I go to one man's room. There's more chairs in there if you want a comfortable one. Every day when I go to see my brother, his roommate tells me he loves me. Yeah, he's an old man. He's in his 80s. He's the same age as the president. He tells me that. So I go in there, I speak to them, and I shine my love from inside my heart with them. That's what happens when you climb this mountain, this journey that you on, when you climb it and you get to the top, you can see the beauty in everything. And it's amazing. Then you stop searching outside of yourself and you know that inside there's this loving kindness, and this was given to us at birth. We have it our entire life. We've been given this kindness, this love inside our heart, but we forgot. And we get involved in the world in making money and hurry up and you got to go and da da da. And then we forget about being kind and loving, mostly to ourselves. Like we forget about being kind to ourselves. Nobody does that, very few. But it's an important part of this whole process of being, and by the way, I don't know if you know Daniel's with Roger.
I didn't know that.
But and they're watching online, I think. So anyway, that's the process. If you can get out of the thinking about the could be's, like if you're saying to yourself, well, it could be this or it could be that, you're already out of the now. You're out of it. You've gone into the future. So, or if you say, I should have done this or I should have done that, that's your past. It's already gone. So you've gone out of the now and into something. Either one of those is going to probably make you suffer almost 100% of the time. But if you stay in the present, I'm not saying don't plan your future. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying plan it, leave it. Make a plan, leave it. Don't go back to it. Don't mull it over again. Don't get crazy with it because that's going to create suffering in you. I'm saying just go with it. Look, take your time. When you go to make a decision, breathe, first of all. Breathe. Take your breath. Let it come in. Secondly, weigh your options. Okay? Look at it. Lay it out. Look at it. Do this one time, then leave it. Then leave it. Because once you get finished that, you've made a decision with all your information, right? You've made your decision with all the information. And if you've made a decision and it's working, that means you made the right decision. Let it be. Don't disturb it. Let it roll and enjoy the ride. Just enjoy it. Just let it, we create chaos in ourselves and then we can't enjoy the now. We forget where we are. We're just, we don't even know. Like sometimes we'll go, oh my God, I don't even remember driving home. Am I speaking true? It's true, right? And so that means that you were not present the entire time you drove. And you lost that time. Can't get it back. We're losing time all the time. We're losing that time. Life is short. It goes by like a blink of an eye. I know this. I watched a lot of people. I've helped a lot of people leave this world. And I don't mean kill them. I mean, I sat with them and I held their hands and I watched life go, and it's actually a beautiful experience because they go in peace when they're holding someone's hand. There's no fear. You see, we create our own fear. What I do when I hold someone's hand is I help them be present. There's no fear in the present. There's nothing to be afraid of in the present. It's the future that we fear. It's the past that creates our suffering. But the present is beautiful. And most of the time, even when something's happening, I'm sure that sometimes Roger in that rehab doesn't feel like it's beautiful right now. But I can tell you it is. There's so many things happening that he cannot see right now. Like the man next door to him in the bed. Whether he knows it or not, he's helping that man. That man is 80 some years old. He's going blind. He wants to die. Roger talks to him every day. You see, that's a help to him because he's not alone. He doesn't know what y'all are being taught. He just knows, I'm afraid. I'm here. I'm by myself. And I'm going blind. You see? That's beautiful to me that someone is there helping him. It's a beautiful thing. I see the beauty in it. That man tells me he loves me every time I go in there now because I talk to him. I say, how you doing? What do you need? You need something? Here, take one of Roger's oranges. Have one of Roger's bananas because I take him more than he can eat. So, you can move that if you want to.
That's all right.
Okay. So this is how, if we stay in the present moment, we can see what's really happening. But if we're in our head, we miss what's really happening. Like we completely miss it. And I know this because I'll say, oh my God, did you see that? And people will be like, see what? What are you talking about? I'm like, okay, never mind. But I see it like every day. There was a man in there who was like talking out of his head, right? And one day I stopped and I started to talk to him. And that day he was clear. And he told me his name, his wife's name. I told y'all this. He took my number. His wife called me. Turns out they needed someone. Every day since then, he's talked normal. It's like if you can see beyond your mind, there's like miracles happening every day of your life. And you're part of that. But if you're not paying attention, you miss being part of it. You're still part of it because you were there, but you miss it. And you don't see the beauty in it, the love in it, the kindness in it. It's like truly amazing. There was a nurse from VCU donated $200 to Roger. She's a beautiful soul. She wrote him, not only did she donate money, but because the money is, yes, he needs his house redone, but that's secondary to what she wrote. She wrote, first of all, she teased him a little bit, which was personal. She became personal, right? She said, my father's the only man that I know that's you're the only man I know that's more hard-headed than my father was. That's how she started it. She said, I knew you wouldn't go out like that because you were the only man that I know that's more hard-headed than my father. And this money is on his behalf as well, because I know my father would want you to be clean and sober and live in a peaceful place. Her father's dead, but she's doing it on behalf. That's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, that is just an amazing thing. And if we see these things as they're happening and really embrace them, the world changes. Our world changes. Like it's miracles happening every day of your life. And when you see it, you're like, oh, you're in awe. I'm in awe almost every day of my life. Truly, I am, because I spend my time in the present, Yeah, if I had not been in the present, I wouldn't be here right now. Today I had to go many different places It was raining. I didn't want to get up and go out anywhere, right? I wanted to stay in bed and snuggle up under the covers. But that's wanting. That's not real. So I got up. I took Roger some food because the food over there isn't very good. And then I went to see this other lady. So by the time I got done, it was 4:30 and I still needed to go to the grocery store and be here I like to get here around 6 or 6:30. And I did all of it, because I was present in every step of the way. When I went to Roger, I wasn't in a hurry to leave Roger. I sat and I gave him every minute of that. I wasn't thinking I need to go. No, I was sitting in the present moment. Then when I went to see the other lady, I was present with her. I didn't hurry. I didn't even know what time. I didn't care, you see, because I know that I'll make wherever I need to be, I'll be there. This is how I live my life, Then it's 4:30 when I leave her house. Oh, I need to get some groceries because I'm out of groceries. I go to the store. I don't care. I'm being in the present moment. Go home, put the groceries away, take a shower, come here. You see, if you're in the present, where's the suffering? There was no suffering in my day. I watched people suffer, but I wasn't in there suffering. See, I can stand outside and watch, even when it's my relatives, even when it's someone I love. I can see it, but I don't have to suffer with them. I just speak truth. Oh, you're suffering because you're thinking and you're not paying attention to what you're thinking. That's all it is. What else is it? Yeah, that's it. So if you know that, then you can make steps. You can start taking steps to change it. It's just your thoughts. Change your thoughts, change your life, right? Mm-hmm. And it's easy, but not easy. Like I talk to Mick in Thailand quite frequently, at least once or twice a week. And she says that all the time because she has accomplished that. That's how she lives her life in the present moment. And she kind of does what I do. Like she goes and helps the older people and anybody that needs help. Basically, she will offer a hand. Beautiful soul. Beautiful. And matter of fact, I'm trying to get her over here so, that you guys can meet someone that is just a shining light, And she says to me all the time, easy, but not easy. Easy, but not easy. And it is. It's easy, but we don't make it easy. It's simple. Like when you think about it in truth, all I have to do is monitor my thoughts. They're my thoughts. I should be able to do that, right? But then you forget because you get caught in the daily grind, right? You get caught in okay, I got to be here, I got to be there, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then you forget, what am I thinking? Where am I at? In this present moment, where am I? See, if you bring yourself back to the now, then you can start monitoring your thoughts as you're doing it. But it's like we usually are down the road in our mind. Like we're down the road. We've already gone, we've gotten on that train and we've took it to somewhere and then we don't know where we are. Like it's literally like we've gotten on a train and been like, okay, wait, I missed where I was supposed to get off. Let me get back on the train going the other way and get off this time. How many times have you been driving? And I've actually done this too. Been driving and go, oh my God, I missed my exit, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get off and you get back on, and then you're caught up in whatever you were thinking about again, and you miss it again, and you have to do it again. Like, really, we do this to ourselves. I've done it. You know, that's because I'm not paying attention to my thoughts. I'm in another world in my mind. I'm not here in this present, and I'm letting those go, and I'm in it, but I'm not paying attention to what it's doing. Let me put it that way. Right? I'm in my mind. I'm not present. It's almost like you leave your body and you go into your mind, because you're not present and you miss your exit. People may be talking to you and you don't hear them. You know, this happens because we're caught up in this and we're not paying attention to what this is doing. We're just caught up in it. We're going with it. We're thinking about it. We're, I don't know, having a story in there. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait, oh, I'm back here now. You understand? Like, it's like literally you're somewhere else for a moment, and then you come back and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm driving. Okay, I got to get off here because I missed my exit. It was back there, right? But if you're paying attention, if you say to yourself, okay, be present, and then you may or may not be present for a little while, you know, then bring yourself back again. It takes practice. This is your practice, right? It's not just meditation or reading or whatever it is, listening to talks or whatever. It's actually doing it inside you. That's the practice. That's where you will see the results in your life. And yes, I want you to come to class. I want to help you, but the only way for you to get it is for you to do it for yourself. It's not me doing it for you. It's you doing it for you. And it puts all the power inside of your hands, you know, and it's very beautiful if you do it. Otherwise, you're in suffering, you know, and most people are. That's their life. They kind of embrace it. You know, like I said earlier, you know, we're so used to the chaos that when there isn't any, then we go find it. Okay, who can I call or who can I go see that can help me get back into my comfort zone, which is the chaos, right? But if we say, no, I'm going to be comfortable with this uncomfortable. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And why I say that is because then whatever comes your way, you can deal with it. Doesn't matter. Because you're comfortable in any situation. But only you can do that. And it's not, I mean, like I said, it's easy, but not easy. You know, and it's, you have to do it in order to feel it, you know. And it's not feelings like your emotion feelings. It's not that. Like when you get into your emotion, that's suffering. Like, be clear on that one, because your emotions are going to create suffering. If you're in your truth, okay, what's happening now? Where am I? Let me take a breath. Bring yourself into this present moment. Always back into the present, back into the present. Work for it. Because everything else is what? It's not even here. It's not. That's a hard one for people to wrap their mind around, because we're so used to speaking of the past. Like, that's what we do. We get together and, do you remember when? Right? And then we go back into the past. Oh yeah, that was a good time. Or, oh man, that really sucked, right? But either way, you're in something that doesn't exist anymore. And I'm not saying you can never talk about, you know, reminisce with your friends or your family. I'm not saying that. But when you spend more of the time in the past than in the present, there's a problem. And that means what the problem is, it means you don't want to be in the present. You'd rather be in the past. You'd rather stay there. But if you look at the past wasn't all that good. Even though in our minds we'll say, oh, yes, it was. Well, if it was, you'd probably still be there. You'd still be there. Because you would have done everything in your power to continue that. Yes. But in the future, hey, it's not here. We don't know. We may think we know. But unless you've gone to another step in your consciousness, you don't know. You're guessing. And usually what we tell ourselves about what's going to happen, right, is completely off. Like we run through scenarios in our mind. Oh, and I know everybody's done this. You'll say, well, in your mind, you're talking to yourself. There's nobody else there, right? You're saying, and then I'll say this, and then they'll say this, and then I'll say this, and then they'll say this back to me, and then, oh, I know what's going to happen then. You have that whole conversation in your head with yourself before you ever go to see the person. Then when you get to see the person, none of that happens. Right? I mean, yes. And then you've gone through this whole big thing. You've talked to yourself about it. You convinced yourself that it's going to be horrible, and then it's not. Or you convince yourself it's going to be something else, and it's not. Either way, you're suffering, right? Either way, either one of those, you're going to put yourself into suffering. And remember, you're doing it to yourself. Like nobody's in your head having a conversation with you. You're having the conversation with yourself. So why not say to yourself, wait a minute, that's not truth. That's not real. I'm making that up. I'm telling myself a story to make myself feel not good. Like if you did that every single time, you'd stop doing that. But you have to do that practice. And I've had that conversation with Roger this week, actually. And I said, and this is truth. Pretty much everybody I teach, they start to do it and then they stop doing it. But when they start to do it, they start to feel better. And they start, oh, yeah, this is good. Then they stop doing it because they've reached the point where they feel good. So they stop doing what made them feel good. Okay? And then they go back into the thinking and suffering. And I asked him, I said, Roger, why? Like, don't you feel good when you're paying attention and doing your practice? Yeah. Then why? Why not keep doing it? Like the thing that got you there, why not keep doing that? I don't know. And that's what most people say. That's a fair thing to say. Most people don't know why they stop doing it. But it's a comfortable thing. And we don't feel like we don't want to pay attention all the time. We just want to be like, okay, I'm good now. The minute you feel yourself getting better than you were before, and your mind starts to clear and you start to feel happiness and peace, right? And the balance begins. You feel like, okay, I've arrived. Now I don't have to do it. I'm here. I feel good. I don't need to do anything. But that's the very moment where you keep going. Like if you keep doing it, imagine if you keep doing it, how good you're going to feel. Like it's just going to get better. Your life is going to get better. You won't have all the chaos that you have going on when you stop. if you just keep going. And it's not like you have to go somewhere to do it, right? You don't have to go anywhere. This is in you. This is you doing you. This is you being kind to yourself and loving yourself. That's how you do it. How do you love yourself? Most people don't know how to love themselves. Like I spent my lifetime not liking myself very much at all. Truly, I mean, I tried to kill myself when I was younger. So that tells you how much I didn't like myself. But when you start this journey and you start to feel like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and I'm going to keep doing it. If you keep going and keep going, and you create this balance inside of yourself. So you're neither way up here, because whatever goes up, you got to come down. So most of us, what happens is we feel the relief of suffering, right? We feel that relief. This feels good. And we get a high, right? It's almost like getting high. You're up here. But instead of going, okay, let me maintain my practice of knowing my thoughts and being in balance, we go here and then we cut ourselves off from doing what brought us here. And then we start again. And then we do this, and then we stop, and then we go like this. We have not created the balance. If you keep doing you, not anybody else, it's got nothing to do with anybody else. It's you doing you. When you keep doing you and keep checking on your thoughts, like check in with yourself a lot. Check in. What am I doing? What am I saying? Why am I feeling this way? You'll feel yourself start to go out of balance, or you'll feel it. Most of the time it's in your gut. You'll be like, oh, why do I feel like this? You haven't balanced yourself. Take a check. What am I thinking? What am I telling myself? That's when you know you've lost your consciousness, where you've lost your thoughts, and you know that your thoughts have gone somewhere and you haven't paid attention. So that's when you know it, is when you start to feel that, not so good. Then you just go right back into your practice. Okay, what am I thinking? What am I telling myself? Ask yourself that. What am I telling myself? Is it true? How do we know the truth? How do we know if it's true? Because it's in the present moment. It's neither past nor future. We're not worrying about the future. We're not dwelling over the past. Right? We bring ourselves to this present moment. If we're thinking about the future, okay, what am I telling myself? And how do I know that? How do I know that? I don't know. That's your answer. I don't know. And the past, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. And actually forgive yourself. Let me tell you, in my past, it was shady. Wasn't a good past. It's how I know what I know now, right? I went through all the garbage to get here. And if I stayed in my past and I dwelt in my past, I would be in suffering all the time. But I forgave myself for the things that I did before I didn't know. Right? None of you knew going in, right? You're all learning. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Let go of your past. Bring yourself into the now. Know who you are now. Love who you are now. That's all. That's it. It's easy, but not easy. It's very hard for us to forgive ourselves. It's not an easy task, because we are our worst critics. We judge ourselves worse than anybody in the world. And I'm speaking, y'all know I'm speaking truth. Sometimes we don't even want to look in the mirror. And when we do, we don't speak kindly. We pick ourselves apart. Don't do it. Because in reality, we're all the same. Your heart, your heart, your heart, my heart, same. No different. I don't care. I was talking to Mick, and she was asking me about people in America. And I said, they do it, and then they don't do it. Then they do it, then they same as Thailand. I said, yeah, people everywhere are the same. Because we're all connected. There's one thing connecting us, the love in your heart. We all have it. You can speak to people with it. I know, I do it all the time. I don't even have to use my mouth. I just shoot a smile to someone. That's loving kindness right there. It doesn't take much more than that, because as soon as you do that, they're wanting to talk to you. I know this. I got a whole rehab center wanting to talk to me. I went to the VA office to get Roger's hearing aids. This is no lie. So you walk in and they have these partitions in between each seat because of COVID. Okay. So I'm sitting down and everybody's like, or on their phone. Nobody's talking to anybody. So there's a guy sitting across from me and I'm like, how you doing? And he's like, I'm all right. And I'm like, yeah. I said, what's up with these? And COVID. And I was like, I'm rebelling. I'm going to talk to you. And he's like, it's cool, And we had a conversation. So they couldn't give me Roger's hearing aids on that day. I had to go back, right? But most people would probably get ticked off about it. I was like, no, because I had called the day before. Yeah, come tomorrow. So I was like, oh, it's not your fault. It's no problem. I'll just come back. And it was a holiday weekend, so I had to come back on Tuesday. No problem. I'll come back on Tuesday. So as I'm leaving, I turned to all of them and I said, thank you all for your service. And I'm sorry you got to deal with this, And they all smiled. That little thing, how do I know it touched them? Because when I went to the rehab center, this is how I know we're connected. One of Roger's therapists, his rehab therapist, PT people, I think, said to him, I think my husband met your sister. Not even, one's in South Point, the other's off Route 3. And he said, oh, yeah? Yes. Was she at the VA? Yes, she was. Oh, yeah, my husband met her. She was said she was rebelling because she was talking. He's like, yep, that's my sister. You see, everywhere you go, when you're in your center, your balance, you touch people's lives. And it's a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful to bring a little sunshine in where there's darkness. Because when you spark that one little sunshine, it spreads. It's like, it's better than the virus, it spreads. The sunshine spreads and it brings kindness to everybody, and it's hard to get. Like Roger, he's told me this more than once, that when he was in his suffering and I would say, oh, it's so beautiful. He would think in his mind, I don't know what the F is so beautiful. But now he knows what is so beautiful because he had a little bit of it in his life. He felt it inside his own heart. And as you do, you become familiar with it. And instead of being so familiar with the chaos that you reach for that, you start reaching for your peace. And it's you doing you. You're doing it inside. You don't have to call anybody. You do it inside of you. You call on yourself. You say to yourself, what am I thinking? Check in with yourself. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking that? That's not true. And then when you do that, you'll be like, yeah, it's not true. Like you'll have this conversation. I know I've done it lots. It took me a long time to get to the point where I don't have to like think about it. It just happens for me. And that will happen for you. But it's like every other, I told Roger this too today, I think, or yesterday. It's like every other muscle in your body. You have to work it in order for it to be strong. Your brain is the same, your heart is the same. If you never work at it, it just stays in that. But the minute you work it, your brain is going to start remembering and it'll go back to this, and that will be your balance. You will be in balance. And that's where you want to be. You don't want to be up here and you don't want to be down here. You want to be in balance because then you can see everything for what it is. You're not in suffering. You're not judging yourself. You're not judging other people. See, when we're judging other people, we're really judging ourselves. We see ourselves in them. And I've said it a lot, and people don't see it. But, poor Roger, he's been the one that's been getting it because I go in there. He'll say, oh, the guy next door, he's angry with people. And does that sound familiar? Like we have to look at it for what it is. When we start, criticizing people, we got to look at, okay, wait a minute. What do I see in myself that's in them? And if you do that, you'll recognize it and you'll say, oh, I need to clear that from myself. See, I don't want to treat people like that. Like you'll see it and you'll go, I don't want to treat people like that. I want to be kind. And you'll change that in yourself. And the minute you change it in yourself, you'll stop seeing it in other people. Sounds crazy, but it's true. I promise it's true. So, yep, it's about time for meditation. All right. So let's take a deep breath in. And let it out. Another deep breath in. And let it out. And one more time. Deep breath in. And let it out. And let yourself just sit in this space of goodness. Don't judge yourself here. Just allow yourself to be in peace. Relax yourself. Breathing in, notice your breath. Follow it into your lungs. Breathing out, letting go of all the stuff you don't need anymore. Just letting yourself stay in this space of quiet, peaceful bliss. Breathing in, breathing out. Letting things go. No need to hold on to anything. Just breathe in and blow it out of your body. Being in this peaceful space. Letting go of anything that you do not need. Breathing in the oxygen that cleans your body. Breathing out all the toxins. Being thankful for the breath. Keeping us alive. Breathing in, breathing out. Just allowing yourself to be at peace. Nothing to think about, nothing to do, just relax. Breathing in, breathing out. Giving gratitude for everything. Gratitude for our breath. Gratitude for the sunshine and the rain. Allowing ourselves just to be grateful for the things that we have. Breathing in, breathing out. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Another deep breath in and let it out. And one more time, deep breath in and let it out. Metta ceto vimuttiya, karuna ceto vimuttiya, mudita ceto vimuttiya, ubeka ceto vimuttiya. Okay. I don't know if I gave you, Jonathan, a copy of this, but what I chant at the end,
Yeah, you get it.
I did,
Mhm.
so you know what it is. All right. So I hope everybody has a great week and does their practice on a minute by minute basis. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just take it minute by minute. You don't need to think, okay, next week, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with it? No, just 1 minute at a time. That's all you need to do. That's all you have, really. Other than that, we don't know. But we know we got this minute. So just enjoy it, relax in it. Don't judge yourself. Give yourself love. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Have a good night. Have a good week. And do your practice. All right, you guys. Thank you.